guys, how's it going? So today I want to take a little time and walk you through our west side garden just to show you what is going on over here, because I really started to plant hard and heavy earlier on this season, and then I stopped because I kind of figured out something about myself, and that's what we do every year, right? We learn what we like and what we don't like. We try out new things, and that's why I'm glad I started with a lot of annuals this year in this area, because I was trying out the whole moon garden concept, which some of these plants are phenomenal, and I'm going to use them again and probably in this area, but I'm going to start incorporating more color because what I found out is I did attain what I wanted to attain in terms of what it looks like at dusk or when it's just darker out. It looks beautiful. I mean, the white blooms just glow, they pop, and it's awesome. What I don't love is that this area is in full sun for most of the day. Right now we have some crazy wildfires going on in our area, and it looks overcast, but it's smoke. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but it's like the sky is brown, and it makes it kind of easier to come out here though and show you guys because there's not as many harsh shadows. But in the full sun, all the white blooms tend to look really dry to me. So love it at night, don't love it during the day. I see it more during the day than at night, and that's why I decided to add more color. So I did want to show you though some of these awesome things that are going on, because there's a lot of building going on too, so I apologize for the equipment noise, but I think there's some of these things that some of you might like to incorporate into your gardens. Let me start with this right here, because we have 5 red point maples that line our garden here, or line the driveway in this part of the garden. And we have white tulips planted below, which were real pretty this spring. Last year I planted the Vista Snowdrift Supertunias, which I have on the end here. We'll look at those in a second. And it was fantastic. This year I decided to go with Diamond Mountain just to see what it would do. And it's not something I think I will plant in mass like this again, not without something else to offset it. Because to me, the blooms, while they're covered in blooms and they're doing really well, they're not weighty enough, if that makes sense. It's too much ethereal, if that makes sense. Sometimes I don't know how to explain something, but you know, like, I can't complain about their performance, but I think I liked the Vista Snowdrifts because they had such much more bold bloom. Sorry. Right here, this is one of the most phenomenal spots I think in our whole garden. This is Superbena Whiteout. This is something I will be repeating in the ground. In fact, I have Superbena, Sparkling Amethyst, and Stormburst planted in other areas in ground, and all of them that are planted in the ground are doing so much better than my Superbenas in containers. They just have performed like crazy. I've got 3 Skyrocket Penicidums in here, which I planted these because they have a little bit of a white variegation to them. If you get close, you can see that white striping, and I thought that that would be kind of a perfect complement to what we were trying to do in this area. So I'm real happy with this corner. It is just so pretty, and it's never been without color, and it's always this thick with color or more. There was one time where we were commenting about how you couldn't even see green. It was all white, and you can see we're kind of going in between. I see a lot of buds here, but I see a few little spent blooms as well, but it's still amazing. On the right hand side here, Supertunia Vista Snowdrift looking amazing. We did have a crabapple here, and we had that removed. In fact, this whole area from about where the bricks are straight, so right here, all of these things will be gone. And the only perennials I have are the 5 white ones, Veronica, and then this is the Roald Dahl rose that the Impatient Gardener sent me. 2 of them did not make it, and I think that their roots were completely eaten by gophers, but this one has survived. It's small, but it's blooming, and I will remove this and put it somewhere else in my garden. Look at that. Just even this small addition, a little bit of color right here makes me happy. They're so sweet. But this is all going to turn into straight driveway right here, so we're going to have to kind of reshape things around here. I've got a white acorn squash right here, which there are fruit. I think you might have to come around the backside though, Erin. I kind of was giving up hope on these. They took forever to germinate, and now we've got some fruit in there. You see those? How fun is that? And I am, like, knock on wood, I am really surprised no squash bugs have found this, because last year I had vine crops just right over there and they were covered in squash bugs. So I have been kind of watching this, but so far so good. Weeping Colorado blue spruce right here, it's doing well. A green globe artichoke I started from seed. In fact, this came out of one of the water jugs when we did the winter sowing method. And then in here, we've got a rogue Suncredible sunflower. I had Suncredibles planted here last year, so this either like part of the roots survived and it came back, or it seeded itself somehow, but I didn't know that these created seeds. So I'm thinking it came from roots. I'm not sure. It's happy and I'm leaving it. This is the black cat pussy willow, which I coppice pruned this last year, which means I took it down to the ground. Like a shrub, a woody shrub with little stubs coming out this far up from the ground just to keep it size controlled. And thank goodness I did that. Whoops. because this all grew in one season right here. So what I'm gonna do, these bloom on old wood and I can see where they're already forming where their catkins are gonna be this next spring. So I'll leave this just like it is. We'll enjoy their catkins in the spring, and then I'm gonna coppice prune it again, and it's going all the way back down to the ground. You can see I'm dealing with some, well, let me show you. I'm dealing with some chlorosis here. It's been a bad chlorosis year. Look at that, that's like a prime example. I didn't realize this was suffering from chlorosis. So we'll have to treat that one with iron tone here pretty quick, and some soil acidifier. We're gonna do kind of whatever we can, like to keep these plants from showing the iron deficiency. So we're gonna try to bring our pH down and hit it with some iron tone, and hopefully the things start turning around. 3 Vertigo Penicidums right here, which I planted really, really late, and they've bulked up big time. But I don't really know if you guys remember last year in front of our gazebo how enormous these got. I mean, they were way taller than me and huge. So I expect, I mean, we've got, what is it, mid-August. We've still got another potentially 2 months that these things will grow. So we might see them get a little bit more beefy. There are some berry poppins, inkberry hollies in here. There's 3 of them, which are doing well, which inkberry hollies typically struggle in our area because our high pH soil. So I'm happy to see that, as well as the spring snow crabapple. This spring, it like stopped me in my tracks because it had bloomed and then it was looking weird. I saw it from further down the brick pathway and I thought something's going on. So I came down here and I could rock the whole tree in its hole. It was holding on by like some hair roots, and a gopher had gone through and it made a run like around its main root system and ate off the biggest roots of this entire tree. So all the leaves were starting to shrivel up. So what I did was I packed the gopher run as far as I could get the compost. I had compost and biotone starter fertilizer. I packed it full, kept a slow hose on it, kind of monitored it for a while, and it's surviving. So I am so happy about that because I love this tree. I love the structure of it, the multi-trunk here. And these spring snows, I mean, they get quite big, so 30 feet tall by 20 feet wide, pretty sizable tree, but they're sterile. And I think that's the only sterile variety of crabapple. I could be wrong, but they bloom huge white blooms and they don't get crabapples, so they're not a mess at all in the fall or winter. Down here we've got the super white Angelonias, which have been in color all season. Some lamb's ear, Helen von Stein, which this is a perennial. White wands of Veronica, which I haven't cut back. Usually you want to cut your Veronica back mid-season, but it feels like white wands is always in some degree of color, and you can see, I don't know if you can see all the pollinators, but there's just a menagerie of different types of bees on them right now. And so I'm always a little reluctant to cut them back, even if I could get them to come back a little fresher looking. I mean, they're just providing so much food still. Oh, this is another exciting development too. These are the pinpoint blue cypress. And this spring, I think I told you guys, like, I think I'm gonna have to take them out. I had to take 1 out of 3. There's another one back here, but they have pushed new growth. You can see the interior here. I just thought this area is way too wet, and it might still be. They might not thrive here forever, but I was really encouraged to see the new growth on these and that they're looking a lot brighter and a lot fresher. A firefly diamond, is that right? Achillea, this is a yarrow, perennial, beautiful disc-like flowers that go really well, contrast the structure of the white wands and the daisy may. Daisy's right there. So you can do white blooms as long as you are kind of being mindful of the different structures that you're dealing with, and that way they all kind of set apart from one another. Instant Karma elderberry. if you need a beast of a plant, plant one of these. Yeah, I've got several. I think I've got 4. There's one on the other side of the fence, this one, and then I've got 2 more down the way. And I've had to do a little pruning because, oh my word, these things just want to get huge. I love the variegation. It's like a creamy yellow, a really faint yellow, and the berries. Aren't those fantastic? So these were once discs of white blooms, and then they're followed by these beautiful berries that the birds clean up. They never make a mess anywhere. They always just look gorgeous, and they add so much color because you can see the branches that are holding them on, or the stems, are kind of a pink color. Really interesting. This here is an autumn brilliance serviceberry, which I think I need to do a little bit of staking. Like, it's kind of wanting to lean a little bit. White, like flurries of blooms in the spring, and the fall color on these are phenomenal. So I'm excited to show you what these look like here in a couple of months, so long as our weather is kind to us this fall. Oh, Erin, look, gunfocarpus. Look at, look at these. I did not realize the last time I actually looked at these, they were about this tall, like right here. Whoa, I need to get out here and inspect things more often. Look at the unique, gorgeous blooms, first of all. And then they're followed by these interesting seed pods. They're full of air. And I think you can dry these and use these in arrangements.
What are those called?
Gunfocarpus.
No other names?
Don't make me say it. You guys can Google it if you want to know the common name for this plant. We'll not say something so indecent on our channel. No, this is really exciting. I think I would like to plant more of these, like in mass for cutting, because I mean, beautiful. Like if you could have an arching stem or 2 of this coming out of an arrangement with these dainty looking unique flowers, that would be amazing. I don't know how well these would do as a cut flower. Maybe I should test that first before I go all in, but oh, these are cool. Russell, quit, are you eating the grass? Oh, you're not Russell, you're Cheddar. My goodness. This is a red tip Norway spruce. It is succumbing a bit to the wet wet soil down here. You see this? See how it's getting brown down here? That is 100% due to wet soil. There's nothing else wrong with this plant. These are typically pretty tough, and I'm gonna leave it here. I've removed, there was a drip line running right above it that I removed. So in our last house, we had a really high water table, and I had a red tip Norway that pushed through exactly the same thing, and now it's huge and gorgeous. So I'm hopeful for this one. And then we've got a bunch of other stuff. The whirlwind white scavola is an amazing ground in the landscape. I've never tried scavola in the landscape. So like, if you take anything from this, I'm sure a lot of you guys have tried. I mean, supertunias and superbean and all those things in the landscape in the ground, but scavola is one I always thought of as just as a basket stuffer, but it's an amazing landscape plant. The limelight hydrangea that I transplanted last year from the side of the house is fantastic. And like I said, this is a full sun area, and our limelights just do so great. It doesn't matter how much sun. I mean, they can be an all-day sun and they just perform really well so long as we give them enough water. The rest of this area you can see is pretty empty. We had a drip issue with this last urn, so you'll see that this one looks like it's struggling because it did struggle. In fact, I should come clean out some of this stuff. It looks pretty bad. I wouldn't get close on that one. The other ones look way better. I planted some white acorn squash as well in the interior of a couple of these, and they didn't sprout. So the other one, the one that we just looked at, did. King Tut, I don't really like, I love this grass, but I don't really like it in here. I think I need more structure, more weight in here. But it's beautiful fluffy seed heads. We've got silver bullet artemisia, but I had big plans in my mind of like filling all this area up. And then when I decided moon garden really maybe wasn't my thing, I just stopped and thought, I'm just gonna enjoy it the way it is, and then next year I'll work on doing more. This is a lumina pumpkin right here, which I don't even know. I thought that these weren't gonna come up at all either, and they ended up sprouting, but it was pretty late. I don't think I see any pumpkins on this one. Maybe some little guys starting. I think there's more on the other one. But you can see this urn looks way better. Look at that. It's beautiful. We've got a winter gem boxwood here in the center. And then white knight lobularia, supertunia white, scavola whirlwind white. And then I just have a repeat of these 3 plants that twirl around the back side of the urn. I do like, though, that like there's these little pockets where you can still see the urn. And that's something too, I decided this year that I think next year I'll try, I don't know, who knows what we'll end up doing, but I want to put something in here to where I can still see the beauty of these urns, because I mean, they're just a piece of art in and of themselves. And I always miss seeing the design. So I really appreciate that the whirlwind didn't take over or get really drapey. All right, let's move down this way. It's overall a pretty good look right now when it's really overcast, but it just looks just too harsh to me in the full sunlight light of day. I thought I saw a pumpkin on this. Benjamin and I were looking at this the other day. Do you see one? Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens. There's roly-polies on the bottom. Who knows? Honeydew melon right here. I had a couple of plants that were tucked into the greenhouse that I forgot to water for a few days this spring. And so these looked pretty sad when we planted them, and they rebounded really quick. I had another one. Where did I put that other one? Maybe I put it out in the other garden. Anyway, there's 2 honeydews on there, so it was worth it. More king tuts and Angelonia. I also planted some white eggplant in here. And this white eggplant has severe spider mite damage. So that is another thing. Let me show you close up. Spider mite damage. These little tiny bugs usually hang out on the bottom side of leaves, and they suck the sap out of the interior of the leaf. I'm so sweaty, you guys. So pardon my face. It is, I don't know how hot it is, close to 100 right now. Yeah. So they suck the sap out of the leaves, and it makes it have that really mottled appearance. And they are hard to deal with. And I have had an issue in this area. So the eggplants have it, all my boxwoods. The Green Mountains don't have it, but all the sprinters, look at this. Look how horrible that looks. I have some stuff coming, you guys. It's going to be a 6-week spray routine where we do 1 different type of spray every week for 6 weeks to get on top of this problem, because it like boomed. I didn't even, like, they looked great, and I keep a fairly close eye on my plants. And then we have had all these windstorms with tons of dust because of the construction, because of our dusty field, that a lot of things have had just a very dusty appearance this year. And so I didn't really think much of it, but it was actually spider mites that were creating that dusty look, that dusty mottled lighter look rather than actual dust. So kind of a bummer, but we'll get on top of it and we'll make a video in case you guys are dealing with some of the same things. Ruby Glow Euphorbia, I just moved that from this spot right here in a video that I think you may have seen yesterday or the day before, I'm not sure. But I had that here. It was looking a little bit too wild, a little bit too much wild texture going on. So I need to find another home for that. But I think I'm gonna plant this little blue spruce in here. And the last couple of things, I've got some white echinacea in here that I think are beautiful. I would like to have more. In fact, I would like to white echinacea up this whole area, like around this crabapple tree right here. And I think that's a really pretty look because they look great for so much of the season. And then on this side, I have ambridge rose David Austins. They're for the most part out of bloom for the moment, but oh, look at that. Is that what you call a katydid? Is that right? Anyway, beautiful color rose. I had some leftover red cabbage that I tucked into the flower beds up here. Just planted these purple-leaved geraniums down here. And then we have the Colette roses, which have been beautiful for most of the season. And they flushed out once, gorgeous. They kind of fizzled, flushed out again. This is another fizzle. And I think that we'll have another probably 2 flushes before the season's out. And then we've got a microchip ice. Oh, do you remember what that's called? Ice chip. Buddleia. So this is a full-size butterfly bush right here. And it was just, you can see the spent blooms here and some other color, but it has just really liked this area. And then I've got white eryngium that I started from seed that's starting to fill in the back here. And I have a lot of stuff that's cut back right now too. There are 40 white delphiniums in this whole area. There's like groups of 5 all along this whole walkway. And I've got white obedient plants, and there's some other things I've cut back, so those are definitely leaving a little bit of a void. They're always kind of the entertainment factor out here. Hey, you guys be nice. I think they actually like each other. They hang out together all the time. So anyway, that's pretty much it for our West Side garden tour. I don't anticipate doing a whole bunch of other things in this space this year, other than maybe we might do a little bit of annual planting, maybe around the trees and maybe in the urns. But in terms of bigger planting, I don't have any plans right now, but you never know. I might go to the garden center and see something that I love that I decide to put in here. But it's been fun to share just the small transformation that has happened this year, as well as the big transformation when this whole area went in. So we just wanted to make sure that you guys got to see it kind of throughout the whole span of its life cycle. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.